There are a number of safety features that are incorporated into the design of the MACH reactor. And first off, we call it a reactor, and there's a lot of action and a lot of aggression happening in the unit, but actually, and people may not know this, there are no moving parts in this reactor. So all the parts that are in the reactor are stationary, and it's all driven by the energy from a pump, which is going to pump the slurry through the reactor. So having said that, it's open through, in and out. It's basically like an open-ended pipe, so it's not a pressure vessel, and that's great from a safety point of view. There is back pressure, of course, in the unit that's created by resistance to flow by the venturis that are inside, but it isn't a pressure vessel, so there's no risk of it exploding, for example. And then there's also the aspect of the zero maintenance requirement. So we've designed the MACH, we've selected the materials, and we've probably taken years to get to the point where you don't need to touch this unit from the moment you commission it all the way till you close your plant down, maybe 10 years down the line. And zero maintenance means very little human interaction. So you don't need operators to come and physically touch the unit to check things, etc. It's going to run. And even to check the unit, that's done remotely. So there's remote monitoring in a control room, in a safe environment. You can still check what the back pressure is, what the gas flows are, the slurry flow rates, etc. can all be monitored without being physically close to the unit. So from a health and safety point of view, that's a very, very big plus. And then safety from a process point of view, because when you talk to metallurgists about safety, it's not only the employees and the human beings, but it's also in terms of the process, how well is the process protected. And what I can say is that the venturi diameters of the MACH are very large. So on these large units, up to 200 millimeter on the high-speed venturis, probably around 300 millimeter on the low-speed venturis, and that's like a decently sized diameter of pipe. And with mine slurry that is milled down to PAT of 75 microns, there's almost no risk, virtually no risk, that you're going to block up a piece of pipe that big with a tiny ore particle that's been milled down to 75 microns. Of course, there's always the risk of trash that can come through. We've never experienced it ever on these big units that they've blocked. And most operations will have screens, they'll have trash screens anyway ahead of the installation of the MACH to remove bits of plastic and rubber or Marcy scale flasks, etc. that tend to fall into, or even hard hats that will fall into pulp. So those will get removed, so the risk of blockage is very low. And then on the gas side of things, now the gas equipment, for example, if this is a gold plant that you put a MACH reactor into where there's oxygen generation on site, for example, the cost of that equipment is extremely high. And what you definitely don't want is you don't want slurry from the reactor to push back into these gas lines and get into the oxygen equipment, because that will cost you a fortune to repair. So now there's two ways we safeguard against that with the design. One is that this gas injection point, or these 4 points on the reactor, that's actually at a point of vacuum or point of suction on the unit between the high speed and the low speed venturi. So you're always pulling the gas in. There's no slurry that's pushing back up. The gas doesn't have to fight against the slurry to get in there. It's going to be pulled in anyway. So the risk of pushing something up into the gas line is very low. But then just to make double sure, and this is really the extent that GoldOre goes to protect the interests of our clients, we have these very, very bespoke non-return valves. They make an addictive noise when you press it. But yeah, my favorite pieces of equipment that fit onto these gas line, which every single reactor that leaves our factory has these on. And that's not really to enhance the workings of the MACH. It's there to protect the equipment of our client. And I had great fun, I must say, designing these, and they make a great paperweight as well.